The final touches for Beijing 2022. Olympic rings on the ice as China puts a ring around the Games. To keep COVID out, CBC has learned China will use extra sensitive PCR testing, more sensitive than what's commonly used in Canada and by major sports leagues. Some experts say it's too sensitive.
You're going to pick up a lot of people that are probably not infectious.
PCR tests come down to the so-called CT or cycle threshold value. Most places in Canada use a CT value of 35. But for the Olympics, PCR tests will have a CT value of 40, making them more able to pick up remnants of the virus. The concern is athletes who recovered from COVID weeks, even months prior, may still test positive when they arrive and be unable to compete.
People that have recovered from COVID-19, they're all going to identify as positive, or some of them will identify as positive in a foreign country going through isolation protocols. And are they transmissible? The answer is no.
Yeah, Cassie!
A positive COVID test was already the fear hanging over Canada's athletes desperate to perform.
My plan for the next few weeks is just to stick to being at home and being at the rink.
Right now, the plan that we have is to really get us the best chance of going over to Beijing and having a negative COVID test. So that's priority number one, because without that test, we can't even compete.
China has been fierce in its fight against Omicron, locking down entire cities and mass testing tens of millions of residents. A test for the country itself will be to keep the Olympics safe.
China has always been very careful, and I mean, they've very dense populations.
That and protecting its reputation may be behind the intense testing regimen for the Games, says this virologist.
I think they want to keep an image of making sure that the Olympics are being done in a safe environment.
Now athletes wait and hope the measure doesn't crush their Olympic dreams.
Okay, so Alan, what are you hearing from the Canadian Olympic Committee about this?
Well, Adrienne, the COC is trying to calm nerves over this, as you can imagine. It put out a statement today saying that testing in Beijing is meant to catch cases early and prevent transmission. It is not meant to unfairly exclude recovered athletes. It also says and pointed out there will be a panel of international medical experts at the game that will be considering positive cases, including these positives that might just be lingering false positives from old infections. But if you are an athlete who has recovered from a recent case, this is really the last thing you want hanging over you in your last few weeks of training.
All right, Ellen Morrow in Toronto. Thank you, Ellen.